Welcome to this video recording where we discuss different types of business markets. We discuss the classical or traditional business markets, and it's a very important step to first of all understand who are we dealing with before we can do anything about our marketing strategies, tactics, techniques, and activities we use to address these customers. Types of business market. Well, what is a business market? The customers are not consumers, private individuals, or households. Instead, this time we are talking about the target customers who are other businesses and organizations that purchase a specific type of product or service for resale, or maybe for use in making other products, or simply for use in their daily operations. We can classify business markets into four broad kinds of business markets: producer markets, reseller markets, government markets, and institutional markets. Let's discuss each of them. Producer markets. These would be defined as buyers of raw materials and semi-finished and finished items that are used to produce other products or in their own operations. Think about BMW, Ford, or Mercedes, who buy raw materials and component parts to use directly in the production of their products. Cars, for example. Producers cover a broad array of different industries. Manufacturers tend to be geographically concentrated in certain industries. Now, reseller markets. These are defined as simply intermediaries, such as wholesalers and retailers. They buy finished goods and resell them to make a profit. Other than making very minor alterations, resellers do not change the physical characteristics of products they handle. For example, Tesco stocks and sells Heinz or Tilda products without altering the branding, content, or packaging. Now, you have two types of reseller markets, wholesalers and retailers. So wholesalers, who are they? These are defined as intermediaries who purchase products for resale to retailers, other wholesalers and producers, or maybe governments and institutions. And although some very highly technical products are sold directly to end users, many products or most of the products are sold through wholesalers or intermediaries. Wholesalers often carry many products, perhaps as many as 250,000 items. Of course, it will depend, but just to put things into the context. Now, you may ask a question, why would a retailer use a wholesaler? Well, from the reseller's point of view, having access to such an array of products from a single source makes it much simpler to buy a variety of different goods and services. Now, retailers, which is another type of reseller markets, these are defined as intermediaries that purchase products and resell them to final consumers. Some retailers carry a very large number of items. Some may stock 20,000 and even 40,000 different items. They have to take lots of things into consideration when making a purchase: level of demand for product, amount of space required to handle a product relative to its potential profit, sales per square meter, supplier's ability to provide adequate qualities, ease of placing orders, availability of technical assistance from producer, training programs from producer, whether the product competes with or complements the products company is currently handling, and many other important practical questions. Retailers do more marketing than wholesalers. Simply, retailers are more visible. We know retailers such as Tesco, Sainsbury's, Waitrose, like grocery shops in the UK, but we don't really know wholesalers. We don't necessarily know who they're buying from, and so forth. These are less visible to us. So naturally, retailers will do more marketing. Simply, they are more visible and accessible to consumers. Now, government and public sector markets. These are defined as departments that buy goods or services in order to support the internal operations. and also to provide the public with education, water, energy, national defense, road systems, healthcare, and other things. They are accountable to the public simply because they spend public funds, hence a relatively complex set of buying procedures. Some organizations, unwilling to deal with so much something called a red tape, they do not even try to sell to the government buyers. The government is actually only one of few customers. What I mean, whilst the purchases might be very large, they're simply just one of the customers. Okay, so usually they make the purchases through bids or negotiated contracts. So let me now clarify what is a bid and what is negotiated contract. A bid. To make a sale under the bid system, a company must apply and receive approval to be placed on a list of qualified bidders. Government then sends a detailed description to these qualified bidders. Organizations or companies would submit bids. Government is usually required to accept the lowest bid. Think about bids for roadworks, railway, building commercial properties, and so forth. Or even like during the COVID, those who administer COVID vaccines and those who, for example, provide with the testing kits. Now, negotiated contracts. When buying non-standard or highly complex product, government usually uses negotiated contract. Government selects only a few companies, negotiates specifications and terms, and chooses one. For example, think of technology-related contracts, machine learning, and so forth. Although government markets have complicated requirements, they can also be very lucrative or profitable, in other words. For example, if government wants to modernize computer systems, successful bidders can make high sales with attractive margins and during the life of a contract, which may last 5 years and even more. And finally, we have institutional markets. They are defined as organizations with charitable, educational, community, or other non-business goals. So they are not-for-profit organizations. These may include libraries, museums, universities. Well, this is the question whether they are for-profit or not for-profit. A lot of universities are they really depend on the profit simply because we don't have donations or support from public or government. Anyway, institutional markets would also include charitable organizations, some churches, hospitals, and so forth. But now you have all sorts of organizations that are not for profit. They might be broadly registered under the charity name, but they may provide very different services. Increasingly, government and institutional markets are being grouped together and referred to as public sector markets. Although there is a recognition that the term third sector has emerged to cover charities, the voluntary sector, not-for-profit organizations, and NGOs, which is non-profit organization that operates independently of any government. Typically, whose purpose is to address a social or political issue. Institutions purchase large amounts of products annually. For example, think about a library at a university purchasing books and different databases. You are talking about them spending quite a lot of money. So these all are very important business markets. Thank you for watching and listening to the types of a business market. I hope it adds the clarity and helps differentiate between different types of business markets. Once we understand who we're dealing with, we can be better at doing marketing. Thanks again for watching, and if you like the content, please hit the like button and subscribe to the channel.